approximately the May-June timeframe, 2011. Got a phone call from Mace. Hadn't talked to him in a long time. Probably been several years since we've been in contact with one another. And it was kind of caught me off guard a little bit. I saw his name come up on the phone, and I answered the phone, and he asked if he could stay for a couple of days. And of course, Manny's a longtime friend. We played ball together, so it's been many years since we had talked. But my first impression was, yeah, absolutely, you can stay if you need a place to stay for a while. But then I hesitated for a second because I had to talk with Sherry to make sure that she was okay with the whole thing. So I went and talked with Sherry and said, hey, Mace wants to stay for a couple of days. Is that okay? And she said, yeah, that's cool. He can stay for a couple of days. So I told her that was fine. And he said he'd be over in a couple of hours. And the thing I remember is not a whole lot of detail I remember about the whole event. But I do remember once he got here and we started talking, that the thing that stood out for me was the sincerity. That he was speaking honestly about what was going on in his life, the things that had taken place. And I could sense a deep burden that was there. And his desire to, I'm not going to say to unload, but to share the burden that was going on in his life and what God was doing. And I immediately sensed that the Lord was dealing in his life in a way that I'd never seen him deal with Mace before. And as we began to talk and continue to talk, I realized that the things that were going on in his life were life-changing. And I wanted to share with him, some things that I thought would help him, but I realized that in the process, it was really the Lord working really with him and with myself. And there were issues in my life that God was working on. At the same time, he was working on Manny's. And there became kind of a kindred spirit between the two of us. And as we were talking, the Lord had a liberty that was uncommon. We were able to share thoughts and exchange things that the Lord had done for us in our lives. But I guess to answer the question, what during that course of time how did it affect me? I've told Mace, before that I believe that in a lot of ways I was jealous of what the Lord was doing in his life, because I could see that God was taking him to a place where he wants all of us to go, and that's a place of complete surrender to what he wants. And Manny was at that stage. He was at a point in his life in which God had brought him to a point of total surrender, and he was willing to do whatever and anything that the Lord asked him to do. And that was a challenge to me. It was a great challenge to me in my life, because I realized that there's too many things that still have hold of me. And there was just too much control of my own life. I needed to let go of some things. And just the conversations that we had and the things that I saw that the Lord was taking him through was really the thing the Lord was telling me is where I needed to be. But interestingly, though, during all that, the conversations that we had, I know Manny felt like probably that I was sharing things with him, that was helping him in his life. But it was definitely reciprocal. The two of us, the Lord was working in both of us to bring us to that point, which I believe he wants to bring every person. And that is a point of complete surrender to what he wants in their life. 100%. No equivocation, no compromise. Just allowing the Lord to lead their lives moment by moment, day by day, in everything that we do.